I thought I'd actually start with a favorite from Kenneth Patchen's, the love poems of Kenneth Patchen, put out by in the Pocket Poets series that City Lights did. It's called Creation. Wherever the dead are, there they are, and nothing more. But you and I can expect to see angels in the meadow grass that look like cows. And wherever we are is paradise, in furnished room without bath, and 6 flights up is all God. We read to one another, loving the sound of the S's, slipping up on the T's, and much is good. Enough to raise the hair on our heads, like Rilke and Wilfred Owen. Any person who loves another person, wherever in the world, is with us in this room, even though there are battlefields. Let's see, so after that pretentiously titled chapbook, this is the next thing. It's called Poems. And so this is from that. Oh, actually all of this will be from that. But, can you tell me which thing to love, which plan to quit, which quiet humming hope to seal myself into today? 1,000 faces swept insanely past me, and a donut with sprinkles for a minute made me happy in this glossed, colossal world, full of things to want, full of news and hours. I wish to step into a thunderstorm as the green underbelly bubbles above me to sing information with the insects. I wish to learn to face storms, news, risk, love, secrets I keep from myself. I wish to brace, to breathe in the human rooms of confusion. I wish to learn not to be so afraid of people in this colossal, craving world of terrorism and conventioneers and fleas and donuts flaking frosting. I think it is good to live. I think it is good to open yourself, to aim to receive anything with laughter and vulnerability, to be intimate with the wind, the way the white columns of the art museum are, the way they stand and hold up, and do not for now wear darkness or air. Let's see. Yeah, this is called Broke in DC. True story. $3.10 for a coffee, but the museums are free. Saw the red painting, red nude, red dog, red cloud, and many bad portraits, which are like bad nonfiction, still readable for facts, unlike bad poetry, which is just unreadable. America is good poetry, and bad nonfiction is I paid for my coffee with quarters from the bottom of my backpack, which bear Washington's profile. Saw him too on a wall here, in his blue coat with a quote, "I walk on untrodden ground. I will walk, since the metro ride is $1.85 and I have no more quarters. Checked my account via free Wi-Fi in the atrium on an expensive computer, negative $19.27, and I am not famous, so I'm calmly eating energy bars for lunch, but it could be lots worse, could be stupid, like a government of a country too big for it, and not credible. I mean, it's warm, it's a wet wind, the flowers are punching the color out of the backgrounds. I saw a daffodil for free. It was an insane shade of yellow." Let's see. Didn't really, yeah. This is a short one. Maybe I'll do a short one. The Pelican. Light swims this evening. God in handfuls fills even the concaves of shapes in the waves as the pelican glides a hand's breadth from the surface of the sea, too real to me. What does it mean is a tiresome question. Let be. Light collects on the crowns of palms, and the pelican seems still as it slides by. What does it mean? Nothing. Ease. Ease of being. So I think I'll read one that's about many things, but I guess, yeah, it's sort of set in the weird experience of going to a museum, which I find to be generally weird experiences, awesome often, but very weird, especially war museums. So this is and the continuous state of war that our government keeps us in also can't be far from our minds. Outside the war. Outside the War Museum, it is blue overhead, and clouds form and move like ninja stars through the hot afternoon. They are heading everywhere west. Inside it rest. So many facts and artifacts, I sort of started to want to eat things before departing so as not to lose them. Boots, rifles, hankies, badges, flutes, mess kits, casings, a poster saying, lend the way they fight, buy bonds to your utmost, from which I get a feeling I can only call time, large as a universe, or to speak relatively, thank you, but I'm already gone, like the young ready men in the photograph from 1916, unharassed, looking, having a blast, shipping out the next day, each with a white number painted tiny in what looks like shiny crayon or flaky whiteout on the picture on their crisp hats to identify them now. Number 60, though, seems stern, or bored with farewells, or maybe he smells gas. There's a spell cast by the reel, by the guys, a recording of a story of a boy called Corey, whose mother was knitting him socks, smiling by a hearth miles and miles away at just the moment he was spent in the mud of Flanders, dying, looking, crying up at the stupid clouds of Europe. For the soul, no soap, only the voice of Eddie Rickenbacker, ace flyer in the blasé tone of a financial consultant explaining how he went straight at the enemy plane, pulling the trigger and ducking, figuring his chances get bigger if you don't look, or the famous writer saying, we're cooked, we're all cooked. The thing is not to recognize it. The last one to recognize it is the winner. The museum also has a tower that smells of sour hay for unknown reasons, and at the top I spill out crimson-faced from the climb in this season of sweat, of hot wind, to high-def views of this mid-sized American city under clouds smoothly moving lazily through 2 o'clock like blowfish or cats, or the fancy hats of those Bradford millionaires whose wares were bombs and flares, who made a fortune on misfortune, and then it's back down the elevator and then past the battlefield simulator that reminds me more of a theme park ride where people sit side by side on benches watching flashing lights and robots go by, and by this we try to pay our respects to the pain, to think about a big and senseless thing done long ago in a time when, says one plaque, many artists produced only visions of apocalypse, brooding ruin, was muse, is. After a while, I leave the building, out to the grass beneath the tower and the trees and the clouds, and a wedding party themed green poses here for photos, and I think, oh, 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 oh. I'll read a couple more. This is called Bay Area Rapid Transit, and it's for Kent Puckett, who I don't think is here, but I know some people from this class. It's a Victorian Studies class taught at Berkeley, and very inspiring professor. So this is, and I go there via BART. This is Bay Area Rapid Transit. It is not a project that we want, but a life. Not closure, but reparation. And blood only if we cannot have love. Everything becomes relevant. The green earplugs, the happy fat man, Maps, the tiny screen the girl polishing her skin uses for a mirror, the shaking youth singing off tune, a tune about singing off tune, the woman who will writhe later on her bathroom floor grabbing at the plastic shower curtain seized by causeless grief and nameless need, the bruises on her yellowy elbows and knees she notices the next day the way she wants them to mean nothing. We want metonymy, not metaphor. Not bread for the body, not wine, just for the rose and the love to be the same thing, and no more art. A's hat flat brimmed, a man photographs on his phone the wall whooshing by out the train window. What will it show? A blur that's the living city, human by human, going to sleep. City in which a 20-something admits to a drunk stranger in a bar that she is deeply empty, in school, out of habit and desperation. And when the drunk asks why, she says, 1 minute, I'll go order another round, and disappears. Even the ground melts. Even our lives live on. We are sickened by interiors, by the banal hullabaloo of any existence. A plastic shower curtain shakes like a plastic shower curtain, then stills, smooth as a screen but wavy, a surface and no soul behind it. We want the shelter of the wall, the news from nowhere, the unutterable stillness of joy recalled. O gorgeous, torpid world, it is almost winter again, lovely and confusing, cold but never evil. We sing along alone, eye one another, and the train careens gently. Symbols spring up, blood, bread, because they are time machines, carrying our growing gods, grown forward like snowballs down steep centuries. If we had enough attention, our eyes could distribute desire forever, and all our dualisms would dissolve like a city in a sky flattened by a fog. We want a ladder, so that we can kick it out from under us once we ascend to a literal heaven. A golden reduction. We want reduction, nothing elevated. To eat, to sleep, to dream, to pine, to lean against a wall and decide what we want. To tell our friends, hello, this is the last poem. The old man frowns into his book. The upholstery is new, but his frown is the same, and the train screams into the darkness beneath a billion gallons of bay. Whales, night, surface tension in the marshy northern end of the estuary becomes the site of a war between ecstasy and interpretation, and the symbolic mosquito floats tiny on it, clutching to it, knows only that interpretation is the drowning soul it does not have. We are the mosquito. We are the drunk, cold but never evil. One last short poem. The Atavarima is a verse form that Byron used in Don Juan. He wrote many of them. I have written one. This is my Atavarima with 8-syllable line. Oh, and the story it's based on is strange and funny. It's somebody told me about a she had massive dreads, and she had a spider living in her ear, and she discovered this by squirting something in there and having it run out. And so this is Atavarima with 8-syllable line. I house a spider in my ear. I hear its life like water's rush. It likes the lightless peace in there, climbing shadow and wax to clutch. Its little thoughts are big and near. It makes its bedding working hushed. I pause to stare at clouds and squint, listening for its shifty hint.